There's a new mic from Fifine, and we're here to talk about it. Now, some of you are keen observers of microphones and the mics I use on this channel in particular, and you may be wondering, has Brian already reviewed this mic? And the answer is no. However, good for you for noticing, because I have reviewed another mic by Fifine called the Tank 3. Okay, now you're listening to the Fifine Tank 3 microphone that looked very similar, at least the front casing of that mic looks very similar to the Tank 1 that you're seeing now on your screen. This mic is built tough. It's all metal construction, from the grating to the casing to the cradle that holds it. And this is built like a tank, and it's appropriately named the Tank 1. As you can tell by looking at this mic, it has a form factor that's undeniably similar to the popular Rode pod mic that so many streamers and podcasters and video content creators use. And there's a reason for that. It's number one, it's marketed well, but number two, it's a solid microphone. It's built strong, it sounds good, and it's at just the right price point. Let's compare that. I think it's at $99 right now, the Rode Pod mic, to the Fifine Tank 1 mic that has a similar look. I personally like the black, the dark look. Obviously, look at my studio. I like the look of this microphone. It's at a similar price point where the Rode Pod mic might be at $99. This one you can pick up for $129, potentially less if you can find it on sale. There's a link in the description if you're interested in this mic. But with that $30 extra that you might pay for this Tank 1 mic over the Rode Pod mic, there's two additional features that you're going to pick up that the Rode doesn't, that you're going to need something like a mixer or some post-processing to be able to do with that mic that this has built in right here on the back of the mic. So I want to show you those two features and let you hear them as I flip these two switches. First, let's talk about the low cut switch, which you may already be familiar with if you've watched a lot of mic reviews or you're a microphone connoisseur and collector, and maybe you just do a lot of research on microphones like I do. But the low cut switch, again, you may be familiar with it, but so many mics come with that. It's going to cut the low end of frequencies in your mic. So it's not going to pick up the really low rumbles. Say there's a fan that's blowing just a little bit off screen. That's the advantage of a dynamic mic as well. It's not as sensitive as a condenser. So this is a dynamic mic. And so maybe you have a fan blowing because you can usually get away with it. Well, that low cut switch is going to cut a noise from maybe that hum or that buzz. If you have, I've got two lights up here that both have fans running. A condenser mic or a really sensitive dynamic mic that doesn't have a low cut switch is gonna pick up the hum from those fans. Now, the low cut switch on this will cut all that out. So I'm gonna be quiet just for a moment and let you hear just kind of a baseline. I don't have the low cut switch on, it's still flat EQ, and I want you to just listen to the ambient noise in this room and see what you can hear. If you have headphones on, that may be an advantage, and I'll warn you before the sound comes back on. Sit and listen for just a couple of seconds here. Okay, we're back, and that was just to give you a baseline of what this mic sounds like without me talking, just sitting in this room without the low-cut switch flipped or the mid-boost switch flipped on. So you've got the standard of what it sounds like. I'm going to flip the low-cut switch now. It's this bottom switch, I believe. Let me check. There we go. Okay, so I don't know that you can tell much of a difference with my voice, but I'm going to be silent now and let you just listen to the ambient noise again for a few seconds and see if you can tell the difference between when the low cut switch is on, like it is now, and maybe when it was off prior. Listen. Now, the other feature I want to point out on the Tank 1 mic is the mid-boost switch. Now, what this is going to do, before I flip that switch on, what this is going to do is take the middle frequencies of your voice, and it's going to boost them up. So if you look at an EQ, or you imagine an EQ meter, it's going to look a little bit like a bell curve, where the lows, actually the lows I have cut right now, the mids are going to come up and down, and then the highs are going to level back out. So I'm going to flip the mid boost, and what it's going to do, it's going to bring a little bit more detail and clarity to my voice. So I'm going to flip it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and now you're hearing the mid boost switch flipped on. So again, the middle frequencies of my voice sounds like it's actually picking up the middle high frequencies of my voice, at least to my ear, and it's boosting them up. And what I do like about this is the low mids, if you boost them too much, are going to sound a little bit muddy and muffled, and it sounds a little bit weird. It's hard to, if you've played with your EQ, mess with the low middle frequencies and you'll know what I'm talking about. It sounds like this switch flips the middle high frequencies, the high middle frequencies, and what it's doing is it's bringing a lot more clarity and detail to my voice. So you're probably hearing letters enunciated a little bit more clearly, and the sibilants, the S's that I'm speaking, you're going to hear those a little bit more pronounced as well, because those fall typically in that middle to high mid range. So that's the mid boost switch on the Fifine Tank 1 mic. Now I'm going to flip the low cut filter off. So it's not going to cut the lows. It is going to boost the mids, just so you can hear all the variations of this mic. And now that's what you're hearing. So it's not cutting the lows. The lows are flat EQ'd. The mids or mid-highs are boosted, and the highs are flat as well. That is how the Tank 1 microphone from Fifine sounds. Personal thoughts, I like this mic. Fifine has not disappointed me in the mics that they have sent me to review. From the K658, which was a pretty lightweight streamer type microphone with a really colorful lights that I actually reviewed. I liked it, passed it on to my son, and I've offered him other mics since, and he just enjoys that one and the sound of that one so much. So Fifine has never disappointed me in the mics that they've sent. This is the latest, the Tank 1. Check it out. There's a link in the description. This is a great mic that falls in a great price point for a gamer, a streamer, a podcaster, a content creator. Check it out. Link in the description. I'll see you in the next video.